Hey everybody, Anish Majumdar here, career coach of the Fiercely Ambitious, answering a question that's been popping up a lot, especially this year, which is, Anish, look, I'm not a master negotiator. I'm not claiming to be. I just don't want to get screwed around when it comes to actually negotiating salary. I worked so hard to put myself out there, to build those relationships, to pursue those job opportunities. Now that an offer's in front of me here, I just don't want to get messed around. What can I do simply practically to minimize the odds of that happening? And it's funny how often that comes up. There's this BS sense of, honestly, crappy propaganda. Let me give you an example. Did you ever hear back in the day about how there was this complainy old woman who went into a McDonald's and complained that the coffee she bought was too hot and it burned her? There's a great documentary about that. The name escapes me right now, but the reality of the situation was this woman was severely, severely injured because that McDonald's made a decision to basically pump up the temperature to crazy heights, burned her, and then to get away from that, they ran this propaganda campaign. Why am I saying that? That happens a lot in hiring as well. The greedy job seeker, the greedy executive, the person who's there only for themselves. When in reality, most of the time, the really egregious daily maneuvers are done by companies who just feel that they can get away with it. And that goes for hiring as well. If you don't send out the right signals, if you don't do the right work, you can't blame a less than scrupulous employer for taking advantage of that. If I should be paying you $350,000 and every signal you're sending out tells me that you're thinking of your perceived value at somewhere between 120 and 130, I'm going to come in at $121,000 and you're going to be thanking me for it. And would you blame me for doing that? Right? So how do you protect your interests? Right? What are some simple things that you can do? All right. Number one, okay, this has nothing to do with the numbers. This has nothing to do with your salary. So this is really going to challenge you if you only think of it that way. You've got to broaden your sense of perceived value. Okay? Sit down right now and grab a notebook and write out every possible way in which you can move a company forward, make a difference. Every possible way. And I'm not saying, oh, I'm a finance guy. The only thing that I've got here are finance related. No, I'm saying you as the individual, you as the team leader, you as the strategic partner to an organization, you as someone who's bringing a lifetime's worth of experience and hard work into play. What are all of the ways you can make a difference across everything? People, strategy, operations, optimization, improvements, everything. Write it all out, okay? And be as detailed as you want to be, but definitely go deep. Stretch yourself past the go-to. A big mistake people make is they go into high-stakes negotiations, whether it's for an offer and something else, and they're still carrying this limited little view of what they can do. They saw 3 job postings and they think that their sum total of value is what these HR people who couldn't care less about them put in there. Challenge that right out of the gate. And when you have that list, understand that you are operating as a representative of that. So whatever your personal hangups may be about money, maybe you feel uncomfortable, making more than this, you feel uncomfortable making less than this, whatever, that is completely immaterial. You are standing in that room negotiating as a representative of what you can do, the sum total of your impact. So the broader of a sense you have of that, right, the better of a way you're going to be able to stand for your own interests, and the more heart you're going to have to negotiate effectively for what those interests are. Some ways that you can do that. I talked about writing out all of the reasons in which you make an impact. Do some heavy-duty market research, okay? If you know that you're looking for senior director of marketing or senior director of operations roles or COO roles, what are people in that area, in the industries that you're interested in? What do people who have that title, right? What kind of keywords do they have in their profiles? What kind of trajectories do they have? Most importantly, what are the areas of uncommon value that you have that is not showing up here? Anyone can do this by pulling it up on the free version of LinkedIn right now. It's just a question of time and how badly you want this, okay? Dream jobs, okay? Now that you've got this broader sense of what you can do, right? What are all of the roles that would possibly be useful for you? And think broadly here. Don't just think about the 2 or 3 roles that you think are right. The more you stretch yourself, to say, yeah, I could do any one of these 20 or 30 roles I see my competitors have. I see their journey. It might be a reach, but it would be a fantastic one. The more of a broader sense you have, the less likely you're going to be desperate and holding on to an offer as though that's the end of the world, because you know you can pivot 50 different ways if you need to, okay? Number 2, okay? I talked about broadening your sense of perceived value. Number 2, okay? do the research and be brutally honest with yourself. Let me give you an example. There's a phrase that we use a lot with me and my coaching clients called the BAY. What is your best alternative to a yes? Okay? If you've been looking for a job for 9 months, you're about to get evicted, and this offer comes in, guess what? You don't have a very strong BAY, which means you can't and shouldn't negotiate as strongly as someone who has 3 other offers on the table, correct? So first, get honest with yourself. What is your best alternative to a yes? Do you have other relationships going? Are you building high-level relationships? Are there offers and opportunities attached there? Are there people who need to get off the fence right now? Or is this the one and only thing that you've been able to generate? There is no wrong answer here, but get totally honest with what your best alternative to a yes is if you say no to this offer, and that will determine how far you want to go with this. Now, a couple of other things, okay? I don't want to get too technical here, but there are 2 terms that you should be aware of. One is called reservation value, and one is called target value. BAY, my best alternative to a yes. I got clear on that. Target value is the number that you want. So you do the research, you figure out that IT directors in San Bernardino County or whatever, they make this amount. So you're thinking of a broad strokes number somewhere around there. What's a number that would thrill you? That's your target value. Your reservation value is the minimum number that you need to make before you're automatically taking your best alternative to a yes, right? So $1 less than this amount, you're gone. Here's the big problem people make. They focus on that number. They say, if I make $5,000 more than my reservation value, then I've won. You have not won. Okay, that's your walkaway number. That number should never even enter the conversation, ideally. Start with a number a little bit higher than your target value. Start with a number that's a little bit aspirational. Don't be afraid that someone's going to walk. If someone's going to walk at a high level for you over this much money, which is nothing in corporate terms, they were never going to give you the buy-in that you needed to make those changes happen. Anyway, so bye-bye. See you later. You weren't ever really serious to begin with. You were just looking for a deal candidate, okay? So for anybody else, your main focus is going and hitting that target value as closely as you can, which means you're overshooting, and then you're looking at the deal and you're being strategic, okay? Lend an eye towards the deal. Don't make this mistake. It's such a rookie mistake. I got a deal in front of me. There's 25 different points. 25 of them are level 1. No, they're not. The salary, maybe a couple of other things, those are your level 1s. What are level 2s? What are level 3s? What are level 4s? The 3s, the 4s, the 5s, those should all be on the table, okay? Those should all be on the table to be given up or negotiated with to make headway on the things that you actually care about. Get strategic in that way. Start at the salary, work your way down in terms of priorities, okay? And listen, take a page from my book, all right? My wife always will sometimes get, or not always, she will often get upset at me because, we'll be working something out and she's like, did you do this? I'm like, no. She's like, we agreed on the important thing. Everything else I was flexible with. And that is the way that I look at it. If you're going to give me the things that I most want, I'm not going to hold that over you and say, hey, here's deal point 3 or 4 about childcare. I don't have any kids. Now I'm going to negotiate and I'm going to delay this thing. I know you want this solved. So I'm going to treat all of this essentially as though we're already starting and we just have a couple of housekeeping points to resolve. That is a great attitude to have when you're negotiating salary. It's already a yes. I'm saying yes to you. Let's just take care of a couple of these things so we can get started. Okay? Just a couple of tips that will help you stay safe, stay protected out there, and get what you actually deserve. If you want to get further with this, I will tell you the greatest insurance policy you have to get the kind of money you're looking for is to be able to generate your own career opportunities over and over and over again. No one on God's green earth was able to fairly negotiate an offer when it's the first offer in 6 months they ever had. It just does not happen. It's just dream time that we're talking about. So if that interests you, I encourage you to go over to helloanish.com right now, HELLOANISH.com. I've synced up a masterclass you can take right from the homepage that will teach you exactly what I'm teaching my clients, the 5 shifts that they need to know in order to get out of the job search trap forever and start generating their own high-level opportunities, tapping exclusively into the hidden job market over and over and over and over again. If that interests you and you want to go deeper into my world, Hello Anish is where you want to go. All right? Guys, thank you very much for the questions. Keep them coming. Have a wonderful rest of the day.